All right. Good morning, everyone. 6:44 a.m. here in Webster, New York. Let's take a look at Wednesday's action. Today is Thursday, May 22nd. This will be the wrap up for Wednesday. First things first, I want to go over the one that got away. If you read the daily watch list, which I sure hope you do, you'll see, or you would have seen, a really good idea. I'll bring it over here for you with MY. And just really disappointed that I let this one get away here. So, without going through the whole thing, the major point is we were looking for a breakout on the news and a retracement to 280, and if that support held, an opportunity to trade it between there and 320 and 320 and 340 if it really got going. And this is something that I put in the quick hitter alert section because it's a little more volatile, right? It's one of those trades where it could work and provide a lot of money fast or just not work like IMI did. And my primary reason for not taking my MY was the IMI trade. I took a quick hitter the day before without any luck. It didn't continue. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. You really have to just keep swinging the bat if you expect to hit the ball. Being shy in this game just isn't going to put food on the table. And that's exactly what I did. I was shy. So, like I said, earnings winner. It's in play above 280 if it can hold, and it has range to 320 chop, which is basically resistance or consolidation, and then a possible move to 340s if traders really take to the news. All right, so my rationale was it has a history of huge moves and it had a ton of trades in the pre-market. I think it was number 2 at the time with regard to trades in the pre-market when I was putting the watch list together. So what we saw in the price action was significant. And this is why I say you got to keep swinging the bat because I took IMI and I didn't get the quick hitter, but this one comes in. So when you have this type of news in the morning and it's up 10, 15%, you don't want to chase that news. All right. It's just going to get you burned more often than not. Once in a while, they'll just take off and keep going, but more often than not, they'll retrace to support. So what I had said was it's in play if it holds above the 280s. So you can clearly see the 280s down and through here. You've got this price action support. And so it comes in, and what does it come in? About 312 to 2. The lowest it got was 282. I should have punched it right there. I know better. Very frustrated that I didn't stick to my guns on this one because it went from the 280s all the way up to 363. 20,000 shares for me probably would have put about $20,000 in my pocket yesterday. All right, so yeah, there's no way I would have held it to the highs into the close. I'd have been out on this high day break right there. That's how I would have traded it. So in the 280s, out in the 310 area before what I thought would have been resistance, which was the 320s. And you can see it wedged out in the 320s. Remember I said chop? All right, so I said in play above the 280s. If it holds, I might take it later in the session for a rally and just absolutely miss this one. So if you learn anything from what I'm trying to say here, it's you have to keep swinging if you expect to hit the ball. More often than not, you're going to get base hits. From time to time, you're going to strike out. And once in a while, you're going to connect and it's going to go over the wall and you're going to score a big one fast. And that's really what happened here. So go back, read the watch list, try and dial into these watch lists daily and understand once you can piece together technical analysis, it only takes a couple of these trades to have a monster year. All right. So I was seriously this close, but that doesn't work. That doesn't put food on the table. You have to get in the trade. So I will be sure to keep scouting out quick hit ideas like this because this is exactly what I was looking for. This would have been a monster. And like I said, on the higher day break is where I would have sold right there. And then you get the consolidation at 320, like I said, and then it just plows right through to the 340s where resistance was, and then late in the day it closes extremely strong. So those are the types of moves that you're looking for. If you don't understand what you're looking at, there's a 1 minute, 3-day chart. All right. So the reason I picked, you can't see the price action on it right now, but the reason I picked 280s as the entry point, pretty simple. Just that shelf right there, right? So you have that price action shelf, and what we thought was slows down at the 320s and then runs to the 340s. You can see that resistance at 360, which is actually where it stopped. So this thing ran all the way from 280 retrace up to 360. Absolutely unbelievable. Hey, man, listen, like I said, you got to get in the game if you expect to make money trading stocks. So that was the range. You can take a look at the watch list if you like. Trades that I was in. So I was on a quick hitter on IMI from the day before, and it broke down. So we didn't get the retracement. has the big move on heavy volume. It doesn't gap, so it sells off. I took the retracement and it just faded out. And once this pattern happens right in through here on a quick hitter, I'm not interested in it. It's either it's going or it's not. And that's kind of what I like about them, because in this market, there's a little bit more predictability to these trades with the quick hitters. It's okay, here's the catalyst, here's what I think it should do, and if it doesn't, it's time to move on. And that type of decisive trading will keep losses smaller and allow for some bigger winners if we can catch one of them. All right, so that was IMI. Lee was a little bit disappointing. I was up 5 to 7% on this one a couple of times. I'll pull over the Finviz chart here so you can see why I took it off of this trend line. I've been talking about it for quite some time, wanting to get it in this 4 basin through here. So I finally took my shot. It hit its head on the 50 moving average here, and then it held, but it came back in. I couldn't risk this trade going from green to red. I was up a couple thousand, and while it wasn't a huge percent return, I just keep having this situation happen to me over the last month. I get up a couple of thousand, then I let it come back into even, then I let it go down a couple of thousand, and then I'm playing a hope game, and that's just a horrible way to trade. I'm going to be much more disciplined with my trades moving forward because I have to be. This market won't allow for sloppy trading, and that's kind of how I've been going at it for the last month. And, like I said, I'm just each day trying to dial it in a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, so that I can make sure when I'm green, I get my profit. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $2,000 or $10,000. When I am green, I'm getting my profit. I'm not going backwards on these trades. So when it rejected it, I tried to grab some more shares and it just didn't want to hold. So you can see that price action comes out of the base, rejects that 440 area and comes back in. And so, yeah, the pattern is still good. Yeah, it's still in play. But the reality is, once I'm green, I can't go red. All right, that's the reality. And if you look at the price action here, you go to the 1 minute, 3-day on this one. So it gets that big move, slows down, retests that high, comes back in. I grab some more in through here. It didn't want to do anything, so I had to get out of this trade. I mean, it's just absolutely textbook trading, in not in a good way, but I shouldn't say it like that. It's just smart trading. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if this pattern holds at this point in time. You can always rebuy it, is my point. All right. It's just if it's not going higher, it's going lower, and so you can sell it and lock that profit and rebuy it lower if you want, or you can take it for a loss and start playing guessing games, like I said before. And I just not going to do that anymore. So, like I said, nice move. Re-rallies at the open yesterday, and then settles in and just can't get above this level, so it starts to break down. And that's right in through here is where I started to scale out. I took it in small pieces because there were no big bids and the market maker wasn't letting me out easy. And that's where I got out of that trade right there. So that's the lead trade. And, I like the pattern still, but the stock just didn't cooperate. I was really looking for this type of move. Once Lee gets going, a lot of times it just puts big stick after big stick in and it holds the highs. And so since it didn't hold the highs, it was time for me to move on. All right, so let's see. IMI, Lee, ERBB. There's the 13% winner. This was beautiful. So that chart is nasty, but let me pull up the 1 minute to give you a better idea of what took place yesterday. So there's the 1 minute, 1 day. So it gaps up big on news. What do I mean by that? We'll just look at a 1 minute, 3-day. So here's the news. It gaps up big. You get a full gap recovery. So now we can kind of tie together the lesson I was talking about earlier with MY, right? So MY was on the watch list for a retracement. And so the MY news was, I thought, really good. And so I didn't say a full gap retracement. 280s was above the gap, right? So what do I mean by that? Let's just go back to MY. Wait, lots of things to teach today. So MY, I said 280, right? And so that's 282 right there. The reason why I said 280 is because I thought the news was really strong. I didn't want to see it do a full gap recovery, or the news may not have been as strong as I thought it was. All right, if the price action does a full gap recovery, there aren't bidders at higher levels. So the reason I said 280s is I felt like that area on the chart should hold if traders are taking that news seriously. And if you go to the daily again, you can see exactly why. See what I mean? That price action shelf in there. So here's where it opened, right? And then it comes in. You can see the lower wick on the candle. It comes into that support, and then boom, it blasts off. So that's where I'm trying to go with my money right now, because that's where the action is. These types of trades that have good news, and then you just have to play the technical analysis, stick your bid in, and stick to your guns. You have to have a certain level of confidence that it's going to work out. and I based it off of this right in through here. So going back to the other trade, ERBB, I wasn't really watching the news at the open on this one, but as the day progressed, I said to myself, this is one that we might want to watch because the catalyst is, I think, out like a couple of weeks. All right. Excuse me. I've got allergies this morning. All right, so the catalyst is out a couple of weeks. So you get the big move up at the open. It comes in, covers the gap. This would have been a really ideal place to buy. So it pops right in through here, consolidates at 21. And when I saw this in through here, I said to myself, you know what? The risk reward is really good here because the support is there. So the trade's probably not going to fall apart at this point in time. You have that price action support. It sells off and then boom, right there, consolidates. So I took it in through here. There's the alert up, consolidation just off the highs, which is normal, and then we got the payday right in through there, all the way up to almost 27. So again, in the 22s, I think I said 023 in the alert, but I was more like 0225. And so pops, consolidates, and then you get the run. Took my profit actually in through here. So everybody saw more than I did on this one, which I always love. And then it comes in about a half an hour later, and then it closes strong at the 252 area, which was actually my exit. I got out just above 25 when it broke to the high of day. So I was out right in through there. That move right there is where I took my profit. So it rallied and then continued, which is awesome. And that's what you're going to see at those high day breaks. They're a great time to take your profit. 13%, $2,800 for me, or $2,600 for me on that one. So I finished up 1,500 yesterday, I think, after commissions. 1,500, and that's not bad. I'm really happy about it. But if you can take anything from this lesson, please go back, read the My News that came out, read what I said on the watch list, kind of grasp the time of day that I posted the watch list, and see how I exactly predicted the right thing on this trade, but failure to jump in because my IMI didn't work out is the wrong reason. When you think you've got one swimming around the boat, you got to get the line in the water if you want to pull that fish in the boat, okay? So you will see me be a little bit more aggressive with my actions to try and catch these because, like I said, if you don't, you just don't get paid. And had I picked it up in the 280s, like I said, I would have sold at the high day break. So while I would have loved to hold for the 320s and this huge close, I would have taken it in through here because 20,000 shares, let's say 285, and out at 305, we're talking about $4,000 to $5,000 gain, right? So that's a realistic trade for me, and that's kind of what I look for. And hopefully we'll catch one of these here soon. So good day overall, but the big fish got away, and I'm going to try and get that one today. As far as what's in the portfolio, SWET is a penny pro trade. I've already locked up a couple $1,000s profit there, and I'm just riding some, I guess you could call them free shares. I don't really refer to my trades that way. And then Skull and SPEX, 5 to 10%, rinse and repeat. That's what I'm looking for there. I'm going to make more trades today. This market's looking to start reversing, and I want to start putting some money in my pocket. So look for me to be active and look for me to be moving much quicker with my entries and exits on a lot of trades here moving forward. Okay, gang, this market is not a market to mess around in. It's better to be cash or moving fast. That's my thoughts on day trading and swing trading right now. All right, take it easy. Long video, but there was a lot to cover. Hopefully it helps you out.